Okay, so I'll just take a few minutes. See if people can hear. No yoga on the microphone today. So.
And one question per questioner,
Yeah.
pretty key.
Sorry, yeah.
We're filling up. It's a good thing. And
Greetings, this is Zariyah from the Orion civilization. We are coming through today with a co-creative component of ancient dragon energy. We are so pleased that you have gathered to hear a brief transmission on 2020 halftime. We would like to discuss with you or share with you some of the potential energy patterns or waves that will carry you on through the second half of this powerful year of transition. What we would first like to bring your attention to is how many individuals in this particular group are experiencing the profound effects of having raised their vibration significantly over the past 6 months, as you would have it. The year of transition, as being described as a year in which you move powerfully into the fourth dimension, reaching into those fifth dimensional capabilities, events, and opportunities, is not just something that we describe in those esoteric terms. It involves really personal revolutions, personal interactions and experiences that are deeply transformative. And what you will notice is that as you allow yourself to have these experiences become more and more apparent to you, as you recognize them, as you engage with them, as you realize the transition is taking place, you start to see various effects of that, which can be a little unsettling, such as the disintegration of structures, illusion, and rail guards that have perhaps fortified your 3D experience up to this point. When we described 2024 as the year of great transition, we did mean that you will be in a different vibrational frequency bracket and indeed have attracted yourself to a different timeline by the end of what you would recognize as this year. And in that sense, you are really at a halfway point. And in that transition, whilst you can have moments of very high elation, and we were reminding you in the previous transmission to steady yourself, to allow yourself to catch up with yourself. As you are moving through periods of high elation, there can also be pockets of perhaps feelings of uncertainty and even small waves of discomfort as you see things that you had relied on to be so solid and so supportive become softer and become less rigid. And in that sense, your reality is going to continue to become more malleable as you continue to raise your vibration and transform everything about your experience. In that timeline that you are traveling on, we would ask you to allow yourself to become very fluid, even in your response and your reactions to things as they unfold, to be open to the possibility that you really are changing, you really are growing, you really are recognizing reality for what it truly is and learning how to see, which is a profound evolution. And in that, holding your heart open to keep yourself fluid, not attached to the perhaps falling away of old ideas, and allowing yourself to be malleable and flexible as you move forward and continue into your transition all the way through to November, December 2020. You do understand that the more flexible you become, the less resistant you become to the transformation, the more open you are to receiving all the gifts of the fourth dimension. And whilst we have noticed that many of you have started practicing your gifts, this window of the next, what you would consider 6 months, is fertile ground for you to really start to move into the phase of practicing and sharing your gifts. This is a time of radical growth, and you are primed to take perfect advantage of this window. And so we would encourage you to remain open, heart-centered, flexible, and inspired through this next phase, next wave. That is how you will find yourself at the end of 2024, counting your home runs. We hope that this does help you in some way, and we are able to receive questions if there are questions to be filled.
Zariyah, that was just wonderful. Zariyah, my question, my wife and I, especially on these trips we're taking to botanical gardens, find ourselves in fourth density for literally days at a time, just going through the days, awestruck about how beautiful our life is. I mean, it's so breathtaking. Yes. And at times we find ourselves in fifth density.
Yes.
Now, she navigates that pretty well, but me not as well. I can only take it for maybe an hour, then I have to rest.
Yes.
Now, my question is, about 25 years ago, my wife announced to her family and her work associates and her friends that she was an alien. She had a name called Zia Source.
Yes.
Currently, she taught herself in the last 2 years to do galactic astrology, which is wonderful because we can see a lot of our heritage, Pleiadian, Arcturian, and of course Orion.
Yes.
And I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about her history. That was a pretty radical step she took to tell people that she had alien heritage.
Yes, how exciting. We would One moment. It is not exclusively true, but often if you are connecting with extraterrestrial forms that declare themselves to be some form of Z, they are representations of counterparts in the Orion civilization. And therefore, she does have that in her collective, the heritage of her collective counterparts and herself indeed also. But we would note that she has many other galactic connections that she is also drawing on. And this idea of trying to articulate the galactic heritage that has informed the evolution of humanity is very exciting, because it opens the possibility for those of you who have more of an analytic mind, more of a critical interpretive mind, to connect in with all of the galactic knowledge that is available to you. It is not just esoteric. In fact, it is your true history. And in that sense, the historians on your planet, the archaeologists on your planet, are missing profound segments and chapters of what has gone into the evolution of just this Earth on this timeline, never mind all the other Earths on all the other timelines and all their associated histories. And in that sense, you can consider yourself as a being at the precipice of this discovery, or your wife as a being at the precipice of this discovery, as a being who is like someone in perhaps Egypt some hundreds of years ago, who is uncovering ancient tombs that have not been open for many thousands of years. It is that exciting that you are tapping into a huge wealth of knowledge that will be released on your planet and into your consciousness with the event of contact. One of the most exciting components of contact is not just that you will meet your galactic family, but you will really understand where you come from. You will really understand who you are. And it is impossible to convey how much that knowledge will give you a deeper sense of self-love and a deeper sense of self-understanding and self-appreciation, because you will realize what pioneers you have been to move through this bracket of time where you have been separate from source with such an open heart, developing such a loving heart. What an incredible outcome of that experiment. And you have demonstrated that for all the universe. There will be beings on your planet who will be the knowledge sharers, in a sense, of all of the information that is going to come through. And that is really what your wife is tapping into. She has a role as a historian or a scholar of galactic history, and she is going to be able to tap into the histories of many of the galactic civilizations that have informed the Earth's progress and share that with many beings on your planet. How exciting. We would point to also a very strong Vega connection. The Vegas were also mystics, but they took this mysticism role very seriously. They were studious in that endeavor, and she does have some very strong connections with that idea, the marrying of the intellect and the spiritual pursuit, which does bear a very beautiful and helpful indeed. Does that help?
Wow. Yes, it certainly does. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. We would just say also that the gardens that you are so enjoying traveling to, certainly all of the beings that you are interacting with there are fourth dimensional beings, and they are getting as high of the interactions as you are. How exciting.
It is really quite magical. I mean, very, very, it's literally breathtaking. It's so magical. So, yes, absolutely. Thank you.
It sounds breath-giving.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Milo.
Zariyah, I have a question.
Yes.
You often refer to counterparts, and I have I think a fairly good idea exactly what a counterpart is. But with many things, I realize that that I'm often not really as clear as I think I am. And so what I found is that what helps me is to ask somebody to explain what something is as if I've never heard of it before, or as if you might be introducing that word or that concept of counterpart to somebody who's absolutely unfamiliar with what a counterpart is. And
Yes.
so I would ask you to indulge me or us with that, with an answer to that or an explanation of counterparts as a way for me to fill in what I suspect is missing information. So thank you.
Yes, certainly. You do actually understand this at a core level, but we will perhaps describe it to you in this way. In a previous transmission, we were asking a participant to focus on the idea of a wheel, and the wheel being still and constant at the hub and turning around the edges of the wheel, and describing the nature of the soul and the personality self in that regard. And we can also describe that in a similar way when we are referring to counterparts. If you imagine your oversoul as being at the hub of the wheel, and then individual souls that are stemming off the spokes of the hub of the wheel, all forming a radius around the oversoul. You are one, your incarnation in this lifetime is one of those souls that has been born from or is connected to the oversoul. And therefore, you have many of those counterpart souls. They are all individual souls, but they are genesis from the same oversoul. And in that sense, always connected back to the same oversoul. And that is how you are able to share information between each other. You are an individuated soul for all time and all eternity, but you have other individuated souls that you are in relationship with because you have the same genesis point, which is your oversoul. And as you experience many of your different life experiences, you feed that knowledge back into your oversoul, and it forms a pool of wisdom, a resource pool of wisdom that can be drawn upon by yourself and all your counterparts. And in that sense, you can access that information and that knowledge where it is relevant to you on your path. That is why the experiences of your counterparts are so important to your own evolution and development, because you are in a co-creation with all of them in a sense. It is a way for you to experience multiple themes at any given time and share knowledge that is relevant at any given time. And as you become more sophisticated at that endeavor, your expansion increases exponentially. How exciting. Does that description help?
Yes, yes, very much so. All of us, thank you.
Yes, we can see that part of the awakening that you are having now is that you are strengthening that connective connective tissue, we will call it, along the spoke to the hub, along the connective channel to the oversoul. And as you practice strengthening that, you have more and more visceral clarion access to the experiences of your counterparts. And if you can imagine how fun the life experience becomes when you are able to access so much experience from outside of your third dimension that you can bring into the awareness and practice of life in your fourth dimension. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you very much. I very much appreciate this explanation.
You are so welcome.
Hi, Zariyah.
Hello.
I have a question for my partner. I think he would like to know what does he need to do in order to make the most of the rest of 2024?
Yes. Well, in a sense, it is about, we can put it very plainly, and this is quite generalized, a response for many beings who are moving through 2024. But the idea is not to let the amount of rapid and profound change, the extraordinariness of the experience of awakening to your various different levels, collapse you into uncertainty or fear. There is going to be, as there has already been, many changes taking place on your timeline, but more importantly, many changes taking place within each being and how they experience their reality. And as you awaken deeper and deeper into that, that can bring up fears that are latent, and the physical mind can really run riot with that if it wants to. And so we would encourage you to not shut down any awakening. For your partner who is also undergoing his own awakening, to not shut it down out of a need to reinstill any established structure, because those structures can only serve you up until a particular point. Those structures represent third dimensional structures, which, although you do still need them to an extent, as the fourth dimension is a hybrid dimension in many ways, if we can describe it like that. What we would encourage you to do is allow these structures to reveal themselves as in best service in the third dimension, but your experience is a fourth dimensional experience, or your partner is coming into awareness of his fourth dimensional experience. And so to allow that to unfold without going into fear, that is one of the most profound, we won't say challenges, but awarenesses that you are growing into through 2024. It is to not let rapid change trigger the fears and doubts of your physical mind. Does that help?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, you are so welcome.
Hi, Zariyah. I have a question about the entity Seth, which is channeled here by Jane Roberts. Can you
Yes.
describe how you experience Seth and maybe discuss his impact on the Earth Collective, please?
One moment. Yes, in a sense, the clarity with which this being was able to be expressed through the channel at a time when what was being expressed was so out of the realm of the ordinary, was so fifth dimensional in a world that was so third dimensional, that it was almost impossible for beings to really grapple with and interpret into their lives in a practical way. In that sense, Seth was a groundbreaker, was a pioneer of bringing through the information of the true nature of reality in such a clear and compelling way to an audience that was so eager to receive it, that knew it at a deep level, but was living in a context and on a timeline that was still very resistant to the truth of that channeling material. The channel is not able to access the particular characterization or category of Seth as a being from any particular star system. There is a sense that this was a collective that was a representation of 8th or 9th dimensional energies. However, there is some resistance in this information coming through the channel at this time. By that, what we mean is that Seth will speak again for themselves at a time of their choosing, not a time of our choosing. Does that help?
Amanda?
Hi, Zariyah.
Hello.
My question is about the awakening that each individual on the planet is going through right now versus a Kundalini awakening. I've always considered those to be the same based on the physical experiences I had when I went through an awakening back in 2013, but
Yes.
I've recently been challenged to that. So can you explain whether those are the same or different?
Yes, well, this is quite a broad question in scope, in the sense that we can describe awakenings. There is all sorts of languages on your planet that would be used to describe the similar process. That can be Kundalini awakening, that can be the achievement of enlightenment, that can be miraculous illumination, that can be a contact experience. All of these represent the sensations of euphoria that accompany the coming into awareness of the true nature of reality. It is such an explosive awareness to unleash inside of yourself that the euphoria of connecting, reconnecting with your place in the cosmos and your heart as a fractal of source energy has been described in many different ways, but is always the same idea, whether you call it Kundalini or illumination. What you are describing as going on your earth in this timeline now is something more of a macro experience as opposed to the micro, although we would never want to minimize a personal awakening. But in terms of understanding how to bring these two concepts into alignment, the awakening of an individual can happen at any time, in any place, in any reality, under any circumstance. And you have had that demonstrated to you throughout what you would consider your historical periods. You have had enlightened or awakened beings walk amongst you in all cultures, in all contexts, in all timelines, and under any circumstances. What you have now is collectives consciously choosing to vibrate their preferred timeline, make their timeline choice through their vibration, and in so doing, attracting to them similar vibratory beings. And then you have a collective vibrational alignment. So it is not just your awakening in the context of perhaps a three-dimensional crowd, but it is the synchronicity of your personal awakening in the context of the collective vibrational raising activities that are going on. And that is creating quite a buzz in the cosmos, quite a buzz, and certainly a buzz inside yourself. So we would say not that it's to refer to another channel on your planet, this or that, it is this and that. The Kundalini awakening and the earth ascending are both happening at the same time. And if you can imagine what a, well, happy furore that is creating, then you can really move through the second half of 2024 with great gusto and enthusiasm. Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
You are so welcome.
Hi, Zariyah. This is such a great segue to my question, and you partly answered it with Liz's answer, with regards to Liz's question, but with regards to like the transmission, so you were saying, you know, what's happening is that a lot of the things that, you know, were really used to be really solid, you know, are kind of not feeling so solid anymore. In my case, they disappeared overnight. That was stressful. And you know, you were saying just be flexible, kind of flow with it, be flexible, kind of flow with you know, what comes at you. So my question is, I feel like I'm someone who might have a hard time differentiating between what's like a really good opportunity to seize and like a really bad idea because it's a drastic change.
Yes.
Would you have any advice on how to tell the difference between the two?
Yes, well, it is about recognizing, in a sense, the difference between excitement and anxiety. And we do understand that this differentiation is something you can practice into clarity. In a sense, it is the coming into the knowledge that you can discern between the knowing of the higher mind and the chatter of the physical mind. There is a different sensation at the core. And if you really sit with yourself, you know very well the difference between the knowing of the higher mind and the instructions of the physical mind, the insistence of the physical mind versus the invitation of the higher mind. And really, in terms of discerning courses of action, it is around discerning excitement, passion, joy, creativity versus anxiety, societal pressure, fear of being on the outside, and feelings of must-do imperatives. And these are two quite distinct categories of motivation in one sense, or inspiration in another. If you allow yourself, and we do understand that as the noise ratchets up around you and systems that you thought were stable, as you say, disappear overnight, it can become difficult to find that space of inner tranquility to make these distinctions and discernments. But we tell you, you can. You are capable of that and so much more. There is a knowledge in you that you can retune yourself to at every juncture that will reassure you that the appropriate path forward will call you towards it rather than kick you down it. Does that help?
Yes, very much so. Very, very good food for thought. Thank you.
You are so welcome.
Hello, Zariyah.
Hello.
Thank you for today's transmission, and it's really helpful, and you are partially answering my questions by this transmission, and I would like to know about my spirit guides and my dream reality, especially uh, mostly I'm watching, and I'm having that dream similar, like I'm in a math class and my friends are having the same uh, math problem, kind of. We are going to solve the problem,
Yes.
and I would like to translate that dream into my reality, what it means. It's kind of same, kind of obvious, or I don't know how to translate it. And also I would like to know my spirit guide. My cousin made a did a transition when we were young. So he's entering into my dream and kind of helping me, showing
Yes.
me some directions. I guess he's my spirit guide, and I would like to know about it. Thank you.
He is saying, I guess. He has been visiting you for some time, and he's so pleased to finally be recognized as the spirit guide of yours in particular that he is. We will first address the dream about mathematics. As you understand, mathematics is a language that seeks to describe the nature of reality. And that's where you have previous transmissions where we have discussed or attempted to share, although the language does fail us, the idea of matter and reality, existence being best described as geometry or a type of geometry. And in that sense, when you are all together nutting over a maths equation, trying to figure out what is the solution, that is very literally you trying to figure out existence, which is what you are really doing in this year of transition. What is existence? What is reality? How can I describe it accurately to resolve it, and in such a way that it provides intellectual and spiritual relief to me from the question, or to the question of what am I doing here? And this awakening that you are having in the fourth dimension is really in response to the long period of asking, what is the true nature of reality and what am I doing here? And we will tell you that every shape can be represented mathematically. And in that sense, reality can be explained. Whilst it is always an ever unraveling mystery, you are always pulling pieces of the puzzle together, and you are always resolving a problem only to move on to something more exciting. And in that sense, you can rest assured that the solution to any problem exists, and the solution to the question, or the answer to the question, what is existence, is within reach for you. And as much as the solution to any problem exists, there are an infinite amount of questions or problems to resolve, which is what makes life and reality so exciting. Therefore, we would say Be excited that you are puzzling over the mathematical equation, knowing that you will resolve it and that that will cause you great jubilation, but also knowing that after you have resolved it, you will find another one. Puzzling over the equation of existence is an infinite task. The idea of your spirit guides, of course, you have many. You have Sasani counterparts. You have also Lyran counterparts. You have also many counterparts on this timeline in this experience. In fact, we would say you have met one of them. Your spirit guides are both angelic, ancestral, and galactic brethren, whom you have agreed to participate in the hybrid program with. And while we call them galactic brethren in the same breath as we are describing spirit guides, of course, they are not necessarily spirit guides. They are beings that exist in another dimensional plane. You can call on all these beings at any time. And they are always seeking to connect with you. Sorry, guys, I have to come out. It's so funny. I knew that was going to happen.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. Was there more questions? I can go back in. Just 1 second.
Take your time, Ash.
I've taken a mental poll and we all said whatever's best for you.
I'll go back in.
There might have been one abstention, but I'm not mentioning names.
Hang on 1 second. I'll see if I can pick up where we were. Yes, we are having the cousin energy come through again quite strongly, quite strongly. The point of being able to connect with an ancestor who has transitioned or a family member who has transitioned is that they are very recognizable to you in the state that you have connected with them in, which is the dream state. And in that way, you start to recognize that the dream state is a meeting room for your spirit guides. Your cousin may be the first to appear to you there to show you around, but that is also the place where you can commence meeting many of your spirit guides from the angelic realm, galactic realm, and loved ones transition. We will end the transmission at this time.
Thank you.
Sorry, the lights wasn't going away.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank
hold
you.
it as well.
Sorry, it was, yeah, I just feel like it's going to come back. It's like a little splinter in my throat. If people had more questions, you can put them in the chat box and I could maybe do a recording if you like and post them later.
I
Because,
personally think they'll keep, but whatever's best for you.
sorry, what did you say, Ray?
I said, personally, I think they'll keep, but whatever's
Yeah.
best for you.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I think it's just something, if I try and go back in now, I think it's going to just, yeah,
Keep happening. Yeah.
keep happening.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, it was
that's how it's
already a
meant to be.
wonderful
Just relax
session.
today.
Yeah.
You've answered a lot of questions already.
Okay. Yeah. Was there people still waiting? We missed out on some, right?
Ray, were there any more in line?
There were just one or two, and they were repeat ones.
Samir's
They
made
got
it.
their
How are you
chance.
doing, Samir?
Yes, I made it.
It's always good to see you.
Yeah, same here.
Um,
Now it's like the whole gang.
I know, that's awesome. What a
Yeah,
great crowd today. That's
look
so,
forward for everyone now.
yeah. I've been having so many downloads this week, guys. I don't know, like there's really a lot happening. It sounds like everybody's experiencing a pretty radical time as well, right?
Wonderful,
Wow.
yes.
I'm back.
You're back.
So,
Did you
Ash, when you
right?
get a download, you just make a note of it, or how is it?
No, it's just like I just kind of reflect on it, I guess. It's just like there, isn't it? It's just a contemplation, I guess. The same, like, I mean, just, yeah, just, I don't even think it's a download. Probably it's just like my experience of my life.
Right. Ash,
You
you're
know,
planning to write a book or something? Like, it should be good, like, maybe just call the questions or some kind of story if it's happening around this. If you could just keep pointers right now, later on it turns into a book and then a series of books. And that's how it
yeah.
starts.
Wow, that's a super ambitious to me. You're thinking ahead.
That's a very good idea, though.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're anyway, the downloads are coming, the points are coming. Just keep a note of it. That's it. And later on those notes. So, I mean, what a coincidence. Ray had a question on Seth, and that's how Seth had begun. Jane and Rob used to write down their questions, and then those turns into the books.
Yes, yeah.
And we know he was a groundbreaker, and that you were somewhat hesitant to provide us with more information.
Yeah, I can feel that energy, that Seth energy. I just felt very much like it wasn't, there was a feeling of like a little bit of trepidation there, like it wasn't mine to share, There's a way that energy just seemed like not, I mean, amazing energy, but just was not going to come through me right now.
He's allowed to have his mysteries, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's so cool. Amazing, guys. Well, I'm sorry that's ended early, but we'll do it again next week. And if anybody had a burning question, I can do a little recording for you, because sometimes I know it's really time sensitive if you want to hear something. I have a lady who's a channel who I go and see, and I'm always like I'm like, are you available tomorrow? So if you have a question, I can do it.
Does everybody have Jenny's information for the Zoom meeting?
I don't think I do.
No.
Ash, can you hang on if Jenny can post? There we go.
Yeah.
And
Is it always
365744. 365744 is the code.
36?
Ray, are we speaking about the Zoom link, the next Zoom? Is that what you're speaking?
Yes. The one,
okay.
Yeah, immediately following this one.
The following meeting? Okay. Can you share the meeting once again? I'll just save it with me.
It's on the chat. It's right there on the chat.
No, I joined a little late, so I don't have
shared
that.
it with me, Jenny. Hold
It's
on.
right. It's there now. Can you open your chat?
Okay, I got that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for the beautiful work that you do, and it just seems like such a natural progression for all of us at this point in time to be moving into a connection and a communion with more of creation. It just seems so natural now.
Yeah.
It does, it's, and so that was my thought. It's not really a question, but it just seems consistent with where we are as a commune consciousness, as a collective consciousness, that we would be moving into this more cosmic realm now. And that's why, there's more notice about it in Congress and here in America, and just more awareness and more talk and communication amongst ourselves. And I do thank you. It's quite lovely what you've done and your work.
No,
I really
thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing that. That really resonates with me, that just describing it as a natural, because I feel like more and more extraordinary things are happening, like to people around me as well, people who are that way inclined. And it's just so mind-blowing to see all of this collective unfolding. And you're right, it does feel there's a naturalness to it, but it's also just so exciting to be here now,
Yes, absolutely. It's a very exciting time. It really is. And comforting in so many ways to know that we're much more than who we think we are, and not less.
Yes, that is so comforting, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, thanks for sharing that, Norton, and thanks for coming today.
Oh, I very much appreciate it and your time and your work.
Oh no, I'm
Norton, Norton, do you have your chat open?
No, I don't. Not at this point.
Well, click on chat at the bottom. I think it's at the bottom. And there's a link there, and we get together and talk after this in a different Zoom. I mean, Ace, you're welcome to come, but I think you have to go back to work.
Yeah, I go back to work.
Yeah.
Oh, my job is so the opposite of this type of exciting.
So if you have time too, Norton, please use that link and password and join us.
Okay, well, it's a little late here, and I'm usually in bed about an hour ago.
Okay.
I'm an old guy, so.
Thanks for staying up for us, Norton. And Ash, have a great weekend.
Thank you so much.
To the rest of us, except for Samir, who's not celebrating the United States independence.
Oh, it's today, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, exciting! Happy! It's in Independence Day. Is that what it is? July.
Yes.
Yeah.
4th of July.
It's the 4th
Amazing.
of July. Okay.
Are you guys all doing, like, I always see on TV, it's like cookouts and things like that, or is that
and
not
fireworks?
Some people
I jumped out of my chair a few minutes ago because the neighbors were setting off fireworks, and I thought somebody was trying to get in the house.
Yeah, with the times going on today, that's what you feel.
Oh, well, happy 4th of July, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll speak to you next week. Or again, if you
Okay.
do have a question, just email me. Otherwise, I'll see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you so
Ash.
much.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thanks so
Bye-bye.
much, Ash. Have a great week.
Thank you.